Hey, what's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why you have to draft Matt Ryan for the 2020 fantasy football season. Let's get into it. So first off, Matt Ryan has been a very consistent quarterback throughout his career. He's had over 4,000 passing yards his last 9 seasons. In 2019, Matt Ryan led the league in pass plays per game with 45.9. Gives him so much opportunity to score fantasy points. He was 5th in passing yards with over 4,400 passing yards, 8th in touchdown pass with 26, 3rd in red zone attempts with 88, and he had 18.7 fantasy points per game. He got injured last season in week 7. He missed week 8, and then he came back. He had an ankle injury. He came back. He still balled out. As long as he can stay healthy in 2020, I expect him to have an even more productive fantasy football season. I do think the Falcons are going to have a bottom 10 defense. They did add in this offseason Dante Fowler to a pretty nice contract. They also drafted AJ Terrell, but as you can see, a lot of scouts and even ESPN analysts said that AJ Terrell wasn't really that great of a corner in college. They drafted him in the first round, which I think was a reach. They probably could have got him in the second round. As you can see in this quote, AJ Terrell was way too inconsistent. He tended to get grabby. I really think the Falcons are going to rely on that front 7 with the addition of Dante Fowler, Takkarist McKinley, Grady Jarrett. They also drafted Marlon Davidson, who was a really good defensive tackle, defensive end out of Auburn. They also signed Allen Bailey this offseason. I really think the secondary is going to be bad. Teams are going to be able to throw all over them. They lost Desmond Trufant in free agency. They still have Keanu Neal, who's a pretty good safety, and they also have Isaiah Oliver. The Falcons really didn't add much depth on the defensive side of the ball. Other than AJ Terrell and Marlon Davidson, they didn't really add much. They're really going to have to rely on that front 7 to get pressure. That secondary is going to be bad, and I see a lot of shootouts coming this season where the only way the Falcons are going to keep games close is with Matt Ryan throwing the ball. As you can see here, the offensive weapons, you still got Julio Jones there, you got Calvin Ridley, who I expect big things from him. You got Russell Gage in the slot, and then they also traded for Hayden Hurst from Baltimore. They got him with a 2nd and a 5th round pick. The offensive line should be pretty good. They're all former 1st round picks. The Falcons obviously also did sign Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley still hasn't been able to do a physical with the Falcons, which is a bit worrisome. Even the Falcons offensive coordinator has been questioning Todd Gurley's health. They're not really sure if he's going to be ready to go. I mean, towards the end of last season, he started getting a bunch of the carries. He got 20 touches per game, every game the last 6 games of the season. The Falcons do still have Brian Hill, Ito Smith in the backfield. They're really not that great at running backs. If they lose Todd Gurley because he's not healthy or if he's just not really able to play, then I expect Matt Ryan's attempts to just go up. The Falcons are just going to be throwing the ball a ton. They also did sign Laquan Treadwell, who was a Vikings 1st round pick a couple years ago. I don't really expect big things from him, but I do expect big things from that wide receiver duo of Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. And also Hayden Hurst should be able to bounce back. He was a former 1st round pick, so the Falcons definitely did see something in him. As you can see, the Falcons do have one of the toughest schedules for the 2020 season, but I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. They have the Seahawks with their first game. Then you got the Cowboys. Cowboys defense is not going to be that great. You got the Bears, but that's at home in the Dome. Then you got the Packers away. Another game that should be a shootout. Next game, they have the Panthers. That defense is going to be really weak. Their defense is going to be basically made up of all rookies. Next up, the Falcons do have the Vikings in the Dome. I do expect that Vikings defense to really regress. They lost players including Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes, Andrew Sendejo, and a few other players on the defensive side of the ball. Then you got the Lions, Falcons at home. That's another good game. You got Stafford versus Matt Ryan. Lions defense is also not that good. Then you got to get the Panthers again. Another game that could be a shootout. Then you got the Broncos at home. Broncos defense is going to be pretty good, but that's in the Dome, so we'll see what happens. Then you got the Saints, Falcons. A lot of their games are typically shootouts. Then you got Falcons and Chargers. That's going to be December, but that's in LA, so it's going to be perfect weather. You got Tyrod Taylor versus Matt Ryan. Chargers defense has really improved. Then you got Buccaneers versus Falcons. Tom Brady versus Matt Ryan. Super Bowl rematch. That should be a really fun game to watch. That Buccaneers defensive line is really good. That secondary, though, is not really that great, so I do expect a high-scoring game for that game as well. Then you got the Falcons versus Chiefs. That should be a really fun game to watch. Matt Ryan versus Patrick Mahomes. 2 great offenses. That should be a shootout. Then you got the Falcons versus Buccaneers. That game should have great weather. Even though the Falcons do have a tough schedule, according to projected team win totals, it looks like they're going to have a lot of shootouts, which is definitely going to help Matt Ryan for fantasy purposes. As you can see on the bottom right corner, Matt Ryan is 3rd in odds to lead the league in passing yards. And then according to FFPC average draft position, Matt Ryan goes as QB8. That's around 8 or 9. I love taking him there. A lot of times he also slips round 10. You have to just grab him right there. I really like taking Matt Ryan over Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, and Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees, that team's going to be run-oriented, and I'm not really high on the Saints offense. Brees is getting up there in age, so I like taking Matt Ryan over him. Also, the Saints defense is pretty good. Falcons defense is much worse compared to the Saints. Tom Brady is getting up there also in age. He is going to be with a great coaching staff, but I don't really see big things from him for fantasy purposes. I do expect the Bucs to be good. They're going to rely more on defense and running the ball. I have Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz close in my rankings. Carson Wentz I like because he's kind of like a dual-threat quarterback, but he gets hurt a lot. They have improved the offense. They did add Jalen Reagor, but I just like not taking Matt Ryan because I think he's going to be in a ton of shootouts. The defense is going to be bad, and Matt Ryan has a decent amount of weapons. I love stacking him with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Obviously, Julio Jones you have to take within like the first 2 rounds. Calvin Ridley you can get like the 4th, 5th round. So I love taking Calvin Ridley 4th, 5th round, then waiting until like round 8 or 9 to take Matt Ryan. It's a great stack to have. And I also really like taking Hayden Hurst. You can take him in like the 9th or 10th round. Obviously, the Falcons did lose Austin Hooper to free agency. That's another 80 targets that are going to be vacated. So they're going to go Ridley's way, Jones's way, Hurst's way. And you also got Russell Gage in the slot. You can pretty much pick him up on your waiver wires if you want. He's going to be playing the slot for the Falcons. Over the course of the season, like last year, he started getting 8+ targets in almost every single game. Matt Ryan and Russell Gage were really connecting, and he pretty much is free in drafts. And then if Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley gets hurt, Russell Gage is going to step right in there as being the wide receiver 2 on that team. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm thinking about doing other types of videos just like this, why you have to draft a certain player or why you shouldn't draft a certain player. See you guys next time.